7th, when Hamas attacked, and the same time Hezbollah would have shot and went into the towns up north, while Iran is sending those ballistic missiles, at the same time Yemen is sending their missiles, thousands of terrorists coming in from Jordan, while in Judea and Samaria, terrorists are entering the communities in Judea and Samaria, Arabs in Jerusalem, in the Galilee, in the Negev, in Ramle and Lod, the same way, just in 21 they did, would have attacked in the same time. I'm afraid to say, without the help of God, I don't think we were able to be here today. Let's focus on our next challenges. In the past 3 years, before October 7th, the government of Israel started dealing with two major major issues that for years they were that can that were kicked down the road. The challenge in Judea and Samaria, where the Palestinian Authority is creating de facto in the past 15 years, has been creating de facto a Palestinian state, an area under full Israeli control. That's the first challenge Israel started facing. And the second challenge is the challenge of the Negev. Thank you. The Negev, I'm going to focus today on the challenge of the Negev, since I feel that the challenge of Judea and Samaria is a little bit in the spotlight in this room. I don't think people are really aware of what's happening in the Negev. That's why I chose to speak about the Negev. Now, this is not the first time I've been speaking in a B'Sheva conference. In the past, I spoke about the challenges. What is the problem? Today, I want to focus on what's the solution. And it's happening. We are changing reality in the Negev. So let's talk about it. How do we change reality? How do we change what's happening? So the way we do it is, first of all, we collect the dots. Then we connect the dots. After that, we communicate the findings, and we present the necessary answers that the government has to take in order to solve these issues. What does it mean? How does that play out? What's connecting the dots? So let's look at the Negev, okay? I'm sorry. Nomi, can you be here? Okay. What you see here, the video that you just saw, many of you went on this road. That's the road connecting Beersheba to Dimona. On the way down to Eilat, you go on that road. You see all these illegal structures on the side of the road, illegal encampments of Bedouins that took over land grabs. Now, but most of us don't really know how many structures are there. What is the issue? How is it possible for people just to build illegally without paying taxes, marrying multiple wives? How is it possible? How does that happen? So we have people down on the ground, down in the field, taking pictures, mapping out the situation. We use drones. We go into all the different issues, such as the water pollution, such as just what you see here on the mapping. That's a mapping, GIS mapping of the illegal drug greenhouses that are actually established within firing zones of the IDF in the Negev. What you see here, those are illegal drug greenhouses. So we map all these things, and what we come up with is a final bigger picture of what's actually happening in the Negev. I'm sorry, the clicker is working very, very slow. All these different actions happening, illegal schools being built, illegal pavements being paved, right? Dumping just garbage out there in the open land. All these issues that we are dealing with, mapping them out and coming up with a bigger picture. Now this is the bigger picture, right? This is where we put the dots together. What you see here is Beersheba, Arad, Dimona. And all these dots in the middle, all the red and yellow dots, those are illegal structures that were built in the Negev by the Bedouins. More than 100,000 illegal structures over an amount of land of 650,000 dunam. That's twice the Gaza Strip. A huge issue. So once we get the bigger picture, we understand the picture now, we create the documents, the reports, explaining what's happening on the ground, explaining how did that happen, what are the reasons for this to happen, and we come up with legislation of what is the right way, what's the right policy to solve this issue.
Let's talk about Bedouin and the Negev. More precisely, about land in the Negev and who does it belong to. Some say that the Bedouin have only 45 illegal villages that they're asking the state to recognize. Only 45? That doesn't sound so terrible. Let's take a closer look at these 45 villages. Is this a village? And what about this? And these? How about these? And these? And all of these? What you see isn't 45 villages. What you see is 2,300 clusters. And the area covered by these clusters is greater than Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, and Beersheba combined. Israel's government has created 18 settlements exclusively for the Bedouin of the Negev. In addition, because the Bedouin are citizens with full and equal rights, they can live anywhere in Israel. Bedouin tribes have taken control over hundreds of thousands of dunams of land in the Negev. We must stop this madness. It's time to bring the state back to the Negev.
Okay, so that's the ability of taking a huge issue and putting it into a 2-minute video, right? That's also not an easy challenge. Once we do that, once we have the policy, we try to bring members of Knesset, members of the government down to the Negev. Well, you see Amichai Shikli here. You see Amichai Shikli up over there as a member of Knesset. Now, what happened after that tour? After the tour of the Negev, when he saw such a huge issue and he got the documents from us, he said, when I become a minister, I'm going to ask to be in charge of this. He's not here right now, but I want to applaud to Amichai Shikli because he's the first minister in the history of Israel that asked to deal with this issue. The first minister in the history of Israel that asked to deal with this issue, and since he came into office 3 years ago, things are changing. So we take the ministers, we take the members of Knesset, we explain to them what the situation is. Sometimes that is enough, such as like with Amichai Shikli, that's enough for him to take action. Many times that's not enough, and we have to work with the media for public pressure, because we all know it's all about prioritizing the different issues. And members of Knesset, ministers have many, many different issues on their table. It's a matter of making this issue the top of the pile. We present the legislation, very, very detailed, how to solve this huge issue. And I'm not going to go into details because I don't have enough time for that. But we show the roots of the problem, what is the right way to solve each and every problem. Within each root has its own way of treatment, and each minister has its own job. But to make a long story short, because this issue is so big, is so broad, the recommendations are to divide the Negev into certain areas and take care of each and every area. And guess what? That's exactly what's happening today. And if I click forward to see before and after, just in the past year, you see before and after. One example. Another example, before and after. Another example, before and after. 80 encampments, illegal, that were evacuated by the government. And it's happening, it's changing. I want to, yishal koach, a big yishal koach to the government, to Amichai Shikli, to Ben Gvir, to the different ministers that are pushing this forward and changing reality, changing history. What you see here is a graph. We do every 2 years, we map out the whole situation in the Negev, such we do in Jerusalem, in Judea and Samaria. But what you see here is the historical change. You see the numbers that went up. The previous government, you see it started going back up again. the illegal structures. This is the graph of the illegal structures. You see it goes back up again to the previous government, and now you see it's gone down, and that's a change of reality. Reality is changing in Judea and Samaria. Reality is changing in the Negev. Reality is going to change also in Jerusalem and up in Galilee. I invite you to take part and be part of changing history. Thank you very much.